my picture. Good evening, everyone. It is 8:05 plus 6 plus 7. Run a little bit late, had a conversation, and things happen. But welcome to another edition slash episode slash installment of Free Thinkers. I am here. Denise is here. Denise, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm actually very excited to talk about interesting.
Okay.
Very I'm
You said
excited
talk
to
about
talk
what?
about the hot topics. I'm excited to talk about hot topics today. There's something from one of the hot topics that you mentioned you're going to be bringing up.
Oh,
Um
I wonder which one that is. I'm interested.
that I did a little
If it's the
research
one I think,
on
uh-huh.
and
Is it
it's going to
about
take it somewhere else.
the
Who?
Okay, listen.
What?
So we're gonna jump right in since we are number one, we already late. Number two, I'm ready for the conversation. So
Awesome.
um shoot, I feel like my stuff freezing. Yeah, I'm gonna get me a new
No,
computer
it's not
soon.
freezing
I
here.
promise that.
Or wait, no, as soon as I said that,
I
you froze.
see myself getting a little choppy. Like I
Choppy?
gotta watch the flow of it. Did you
Okay.
remember Max Headroom?
Who's that?
That is an old TV show. Look up Max Headroom. It was almost that. It was almost like the first AI. It was
No, I
literally
didn't
like the
see
first
that.
AI. Now I gotta go back. It was like a computer program that had a
Oh, wait.
personality.
What did this come on?
This was in the 80s.
Oh, okay, no. I was born in 87. I was born in
Oh, and
87.
that's probably around the time that it came out. It was about 87, 88. Max Headroom. I gotta look there, but it was almost the first version of AI, like Max Headroom, Knight Rider, which
I
was a
do know Knight
car that
Rider.
had its own. That was like a form of
Kit.
AI. Like those were like the first forms of
The
AI that
smart
actually
car.
came.
It was a smart car,
Yeah,
basically.
well, yeah, it did because it drove itself. But then
It
it also
talked.
had its own. It reasoned. It talked. It was like a person
Yeah.
in the form of a car, way
hmm
before Transformers. I'm gonna go back and watch that stuff. That's the one thing I like about YouTube. You can go back and pull all that stuff up on YouTube, and you can go back and watch everything,
Have
which
you
is
ever
pretty
seen
awesome. So if you use
um
technology right, then it's actually enjoyable.
have you ever seen Wall Street? Q? The
The
original Wall
movie,
Street movie with Michael Douglas and
I have not
um
seen the original, and I have not seen the reboot of it. I heard they were both good.
So, Wall Street, the movie has Michael Douglas and Charlie Sheen in it, and I want to say it's this
Mm.
movie. And they had this moment, and if it's not that, then maybe it's some other movie. So forgive me if I'm completely wrong. Where it was like like a version of like an iPhone almost, where they were like video calling somebody or something like that. Maybe it might have been some
Oh,
futuristic
okay.
movie or something. And that's like, oh, that's crazy. It's funny that
I saw Wolf
people
on Wall Street. That's one of my favorite movies.
really.
You
I
didn't like
don't.
Wolf
I don't.
on Wall Street?
I just remember it. So the people who make that movie also made this one movie called Too Big to Fail. So
Okay, I
like
have to put
I
that on.
believe it's the
I
same
gotta
people.
write
Let
all
me
these down.
see. Um, Wolf of Wall Street, and let me
That's
see.
Leonardo DiCaprio. That's like 8, 10 years ago. That's more recent, but that's one of my favorites. And Leonardo DiCaprio is one of my favorite actors. He's one of those ones. If I see it, then yeah, I'm
Oh, it's
probably
Martin
gonna watch it.
Scorsese. Okay, maybe I'm giving. Maybe this is because I don't think Martin Scorsese
I
did
can't believe
Too
you
Big to
haven't saw
Fail.
Wolf on Wall Street.
No, I've seen it. It's just not. What I'm saying is, I was
Oh,
thinking it was by the same people who did Too Big to
okay.
Fail, and it's not. I don't think.
Okay.
In terms of the director, but I like the way that one was shot. I mean, I don't
Okay.
know. It was just
So we're gonna
over the
jump
top for
right
me.
in. I'm ready.
Okay, so the first one I wanted to get
But you know what?
into.
Like it was
Mhm.
embellished to some degree.
It was over the top. It was extremely over the top.
See, I think I do have a delay.
Yeah, you do. You are a little delayed. You want to hop off and hop back on?
I'm
No, it's only us two.
I'm gonna probably do that soon.
We can't do it
I'll
mid
probably
convo
do
because
that
it's just
soon.
me and
I'll see
you.
how. Okay. Okay. Respond. Okay. Say. All right. Denise.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's a delay. Okay. So you can go ahead and do the preliminaries. I'm gonna reset
Okay,
my computer and then I'm hop back on.
cool. Okay, I'll start talking to the people. All right, y'all. So y'all know what it is. It's Tuesday. It's Free Thinkers Tuesday. So we're going to do something. We mentioned at the beginning of the year that we wanted to do something called Hot Topic Tuesdays. And, if you're new to Free Thinkers, we tend to stay away from hot topics just because we love to, have something fresh and new when all of the internet's talking about the same thing. We're like, you can come to Free Thinkers and get something completely different. However, we have heard that people do want to hear our thoughts on some of the hot topics that are going on. So what we decided to do is once a month we do Hot Topic Tuesdays where we do share our opinions on all of the things that have gone on in the last month or so. So those are some of the things that's what we're going to be getting into today. So Q restarted his computer, and when he comes back, we'll dive a little deeper. Now, one of the topics that Q mentioned in the chat was Jasmine Crockett. Now, I have not been on the internet like that, y'all, because I love to decompress. So I had to go look up what's going on with Jasmine Crockett because I really don't know. So what I end up finding out was that she lost her seat in the House. And I'm like, interesting, but not shocking. And apparently she lives in Texas. And so everybody's like, oh, Texas is changing. Texas is changing. And I was like, guys, Texas is Texas. And Texas will be Texas. Now, Texas may change, but as of right now, Texas is Texas. Now, keep in mind, maybe last fall, last winter, they were doing something called gerrymandering in Texas, where they were specifically like, from my understanding of what this means, it's like changing the districts. So specifically, what I heard the person say when they were having this hearing, which, mind you, this is a person who I don't know what you would call them, but they're in politics. And they said, we are doing this because we want to give the Republicans the advantage. So we are changing the districts so that the votes can favor the Republicans. This is what the man said. Okay. Um, and so it's interesting because I always say that Republicans are more organized than Democrats, are more organized than the left, they're more organized, and thus they get more things done. And what I've noticed from Democrats or from the left is that they tend to be less organized and more talk, but the plan don't be in action. And because of that, things like this happen, which is Jasmine Crockett lost her seat. However, I started to dig a little deeper. And what I found is that one of the things they were trying to use against her was her stance on Israel and Palestine. So they tried to use that against her because she didn't deliberately say that Israel was participating in genocide. And so that's interesting. And we'll get there. I'm going to wait for Q to get in first to really unpack that. One of the other things that I did notice is that the church she goes to, her pastor got a seat. So where she does not have a seat in the House anymore, her pastor does. And that was extremely interesting to me. And so we're going to get into a little bit of that too. Q, how much did you hear?
I heard everything. Okay, so
Okay.
yeah. So first of all, even with Jasmine Crockett, she was running for a higher seat. So she was running for, right now she is a U.S. representative. So now she was running for the Senate seat, which would give her a larger representation base. She would have been representing a much larger portion of the Texas population versus just a district representative. Now that's one. Number two, and I'm not big on politics, but this is what I do know. This was just a primary. So it wasn't even, this is not a Democrat Republican thing. This is her going against another Democrat to decide who's going to be the representative that goes against the Republican nominee, because there's going to be a vote later at the end of the year to decide who gets that seat. This was only to decide who's going to be the Democratic representative that goes for that seat. So even if she won this one,
so because she was running for a higher seat and she did not get it, then that means that the seat she's in now,
I don't think she lost her seat.
Really? Because they're making it sound like what I'm seeing is they're making it kind of sound like her seat's lost. Like, I could be wrong.
No, I don't think so. She was going for Senate, and she went against another Democratic representative who was both trying to be the representative for to be one of the senators for the state of Texas. But that person, dang, I can't remember. I think it start with a T. But now he's going to have to run against the Republican nominee at the end of the year to see who gets that seat. So all it was is just like it was a preliminary to see who gets to run for the seat. And she didn't do it. Now, this is the part that I say that irritates me. I'm very much it irritates me when people try to play the race card on everything, and they try to play the Jim card on everything. Oh, they didn't want a black woman to get it.
Well, I said that last time with the Kamala thing, and you said that's what it was.
Sometimes it is. And in the case of Kamala, I think a large portion, and it's not the whole thing, but many pieces can play a part in the sum end result of a thing. Part of it was she was a woman, and a lot of people, even women, are not ready to see a woman be the leader of the country. Another part of it was a strong backlash because you got to realize every time black people do see some type of progress, then there's going to be a backlash to it. So Obama being in office for 8 years, and you think about you had some good old fine Americans who have children 6, 7, 8 years old, and they've only known a black president. How do you think they feel about that?
Well,
so would they tried to suppress the importance of representation when it comes to us, and like, well, it don't matter whoever, but no, they understand how important representation is. And if the leader of the free world is a black man, and my child is only known a black man as being the leader, no, we need to balance this out. I knew for a fact, and that's why they tried to back up with Hillary right after it. No, we need to see another blue blood white American in office after that. My children need to see that representation.
Specifically white man.
Yes. And that was a part of it. That wasn't a full part, but that was a part of it. So I think that's where Kamala came in. But when you act like people just now, and see, this is the other thing. Okay, yes, Kamala was a woman. She was a black woman. So I mean, even I got issues with that. Yeah,
me too. But
I got issues with that. But you know, but even still, they did not go see. So just like Jasmine Crockett had to go through the primary to see who's going to be the one who goes against the Republican Party nominee, Kamala Harris didn't have to do that. They just automatically gave her to us without us even being able to decide on it. Because President Biden tried to give it a go for a second time, and they realized early on after I think 1 or 2 debates that he had with Trump, they was like, this dude is not competent to run again. So then they backed out Joe Biden at the last minute, and then instead of us getting to decide and vote who we wanted to represent, they just threw Kamala up there. without
Right.
anybody having to say so. That's gonna rub people the wrong way also.
Yeah.
Now you got thrown up there without the people actually giving you that stamp of approval. You didn't you started the campaign late. So you were already kind of behind on the 8 ball. We didn't know what you stood for. And then once we tried to find out what you were standing for, you tried to play the middle so hard, people still couldn't get a feel of you. So when people start asking, like, what is it about Joe Biden's policies that you would change or do differently? Like, when you're president, what are you going to do different? And it's, well, I can't say there's anything I would do different. And it's like, it's not a good answer.
It's not. Because the thing is, we didn't
All of
vote
these
him
things,
in.
and it's not just one thing. It's
Yeah.
It's multiple things that add up.
Yeah, that's true. Which makes me feel like it wasn't a race thing or a sex thing when it came to her. It was a circumstance thing and a people feeling like they didn't have a choice thing, and she didn't have any really strong policies thing. And it really had, you know, I'm gonna say nothing because there's people who ain't never gonna vote for a woman, never vote for a Black person. We know that. But I mean,
True.
Obama got in 2008, which we never thought we would see. We never thought if you were a Black person prior to 2008, you did not think you would ever see a Black president in your lifetime. That's how.
No, I did not.
That's like now it's like, oh yeah, that, like no. We never thought we were gonna see it. We thought maybe our kids might or something, maybe our kids, but it was so like unheard of out of how many presidents there was never a Black one or anybody even close. Like there was no one anybody considered seriously for presidency as a Black person at that time either.
But think about Obama. Obama was a perfect storm too. Number one, a large portion of the American population was not feeling George Bush.
Nope. Everybody hated George Bush vibes at the time.
So we were in position for looking for change. So there was a lot of people who were looking for something different because they wasn't really feeling Bush. Now, so number one, you had people looking for change. Number two, Obama at the time was very young too. So he grabbed a large young demographic that a lot of those people who were not only voting for Obama, but campaigning and doing the groundwork, a lot of those people would not have participated if it was somebody else other than Obama. And that's why people don't, I would argue, even if by magic that they were able to do third terms and Obama was able to run again, it's not a guarantee Obama will win now. You're talking about years later. Now you're talking about somebody in his 60s versus somebody that was in their 40s at the time, and it's just a different thing.
So yeah, because that's pretty young to be a president.
And not only that, they couldn't find, the only thing they could find on Obama was speculation. Was he born here? Is he a Muslim? And why is his pastor saying this stuff? Like that was the depth of the dirt that they could find on him. Outside of that, they ain't really had no dirt on him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was well composed. He was very articulate. He had the right stature. He had the it was a whole lot of things that fell in place that allowed him to be president at that specific time. And if he tried to do it 10 years before or 10 years after, I don't think he would have got it.
No, not at all. 10 years before, not at all. Because 10 years before, we were just coming off of the Bill Clinton shenanigans. So they weren't about to go for another Democrat because they wasn't going for it.
He was so boring though. That was he killed this. He shot himself in the foot. Al Gore. Al Gore had zero charisma at all. You can't go from somebody like Bill Clinton, who was extremely charismatic, to someone who had like zero charisma. It just, and even with that, it still was like a super narrow vote to where they had to do second counting. And this, he had, Pete, they were talking about recounting the votes because it was so close between him and George Bush. And Al Gore literally did nothing.
Oh, because was that the year where all these ballots went missing in Florida? Or was that the second?
With the Chads and in Florida, and they was like, okay, did it punch or did it not? And it was just a lot of speculation if George Bush had actually won because it was really that
wasn't
close.
his brother like?
Yes, his brother was the governor. Jeb Bush was the governor.
Yeah, it was like some really sketchy stuff going on at the time, guys. You never get like, so they were saying that they seen ballots floating in the water, y'all. I don't know how true this is, but they were saying that they saw ballots floating in the water. They wanted to do recounts and all this stuff. Like, it was really insane at that time if you weren't alive. But
Go ahead, because I'm gonna get back to Jasmine Crockett in a second. Go
ahead. But yeah, all that to say, like, where we are now, like, even the fact that this conversation about Jasmine Crockett is even a thing, had this been 20 years ago, I don't even think this would be a conversation. But go ahead, Q.
So again, I don't like the whole thing. Oh, it's just she's a Black woman and that's why nobody voted for. You are in Texas. And this is the problem that not only Democrats but people, you gotta know the game that you playing at the specific point in time. If you're trying to get nominated in Texas, hold on. So let's back up. See, right now she is a U.S. representative for the district for a certain district in Dallas. We don't know those are your people in Dallas. So if you are in Dallas and certain, you're gonna win that. Certain areas in Harris County, which is in Houston, you might win that. But Texas is a huge state. And and trust me, because I work and I go, like, part of my work is going out in a lot of these hill country areas, and it ain't urban out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole different life. And if you think all of Texas is just Dallas, Houston, and Austin, which Austin has a very low Black population as well. But if you think all you're gonna do is win Houston and Dallas, and then you're gonna win a state, you will not.
You surely won't. So surely won't.
So again, take accountability for that. Are you addressing the heartbeat of the people of this state as a whole, or did you just go after certain demographics?
Now that's a question.
That before you just sit there and say y'all just didn't vote for her because she was Black. Okay.
That's a good. So that's where I wanted to get into this thing with the pastor, right? So apparently, because she was running for Senate, then she didn't seek re-election for the House seat. So she didn't technically lose it. She just wasn't seeking it because more than likely, I don't know if you can do both at once. I doubt it. And so because of that, she's not seeking re-election in the House. And then now she's being replaced by Frederick Haynes III.
Oh, okay.
Who is her pastor. So then I go, how big is this church? How many members does this church have? And I looked it up, and AI said like 14,000 members. So if you're in Dallas and you have 14,000 people in a church, and those people may be campaigning for you for free, and like, remember, for those who were not alive at the time, and neither was I, there was a point in time where the Black church was like the centralized place for where we decided what we needed as a community. And you could go to the Black church and get the votes that you needed if the Black church was aligned with what you were doing. So this person is like, this church it's pretty large. I mean, this is what you would call in the mega church family. For those who don't know what a mega church is, super, super large church organization that you may as well say runs like a legit business. This ain't no small little church.
Absolutely.
I'm saying all that to say, back to your point, you have to know your demographic. You have to understand that you went to this really big church and you had this association with this church, and those people lived in your district more than likely. And those people voted for you to get into the house. This is how that works. That's how that went down. And now that you're going a
Okay,
step
so yeah, she didn't
further,
keep her. I'm looking at it. She didn't keep her seat. Yeah.
yeah. So now we're going a step further, and you're trying to get into the Senate. That might require a different kind of campaign that just being a member of this church may not be enough.
Right.
Furthermore, it's no longer about you because your pastor's running, and therefore we don't really care. That's how the black church. That's how the black church runs.
This could be a thing too. They could have put that plan in place to say, "Hey, I'm going to run for Senate. I may win, I may not. You could run for House. So then we still gonna keep it in the family one way or another. And then when I come back in 2 years, then I can come back and take that seat again." That's a possibility.
I personally think yes, the handoff was intentional. The handoff was intentional. I don't think she thought she was gonna lose. That's what I think. I don't think she thought she was gonna lose. And you have to understand, for Jasmine Crockett to be a House member, she is insanely popular. I don't know no other members at a House. I don't think I ever have. I didn't even know exactly what she did in politics. I just know who she is, right? So you may confuse.
I can't tell you a more popular House member than her.
No, I can't. And now you may confuse your popularity and you being a name that people know.
Oh, I take that back. I'm sorry. I thought she was senator, but Maxine Waters may be the only other person that I
oh yeah, for sure. For sure, Maxine Waters.
I thought she was actually a senator. I didn't know she was. Maxine Waters is a representative.
All that to say, you may confuse your popularity amongst people in general for you thinking you're going to get votes. So I don't know who, and then because you have this popularity, you may think you don't need to campaign like that. You may think you don't need to campaign like that. And I feel now.
I'll say this too, but this is the other side of it. She wasn't working with that money. See, Tellerico had that evangelical money that he was dealing with too. Like it was, he had his pockets was a lot deeper to campaign than hers was. So when you don't have the same amount of funds to do promotion and that type of campaign, then you really got to pick and choose where you're doing it at. Or you got to have a real aggressive strategy to raise money in order to build your campaign.
But also, the funds are going to be split, because I can almost guarantee you the majority of the funds that were probably raised for her to get her House seat had something to do with her church. So now you have your pastor, again, you have your pastor now coming to take your seat. All that energy, that
she wasn't in competition with him, though. She wasn't in competition with him.
But you're missing what I'm saying. I'm saying. She's not in direct competition with him in terms of the seat that they're trying to get, or whatever position they're trying to hold. But all that money and attention that would have gone to her as a member of his church is going to now go to him. You can't split all that up.
Yeah, that's true.
And so campaign funds and whoever else they may have helped her campaign to get funds from this other pastor's church that also is
Right.
Like that's all going in
money from
his campaign.
State. You just getting money from, again, that is an example of somebody thinking local when this is regional.
So now I want to know, who is her campaign manager?
Yeah, somebody.
Are they polling? What was this? And now I will say another thing, the importance of social media in some of this too. Now, I don't know how much of her is Texas. So Texas don't really care about what's going on in Israel, do they? They don't
Nah,
care.
no, yeah, no, that is
No,
true.
Texas
No,
don't care what's going on with Israel and Palestine. They don't care. So it was
hold on.
interesting.
Okay, go ahead.
So it's interesting because apparently what came up, again, like I was saying earlier, was her views on the Palestine Israel um, situation. And that was something that like came in that they waited till like the week before elections apparently to start blasting the internet with all of this information and things like that, which would alienate some of her audience. And we do know that the left is a very fragile. They ain't got no the liberals, they fragile. They one little something happened and they don't stand by the vote, whoever it was. Republicans, very different. It is what it is. We don't care what they did. We don't care where they were. We don't care what happened. This is who I'm voting for. Very straightforward. Democrats, the left, not like that at all. So you say something about their candidate and they get up in arms, they may not vote for that person. So I don't know how much of that affected it,
That is
but
true.
they're fair weather. They're flim flam. They flimsy. Like
That's
that is
100%.
not a group of people that I would, if I was running for anything, wouldn't do it.
And that's one of the things you were saying, even when I was restarting my computer, that I agree. Republicans are real Republicans. They die hard Republicans, and whether they agree, disagree, at the end of the day, oh, this our guy, this the person that we're going to get going, this the person that we choosing to represent, then they all gonna jump on board. And they are going to be Democrats are, you have a portion of diehard Democrats, but a large portion of the Democratic vote are really people who probably like myself are more independent, that just tends to swing left
Right. You
more.
just don't want to vote right because typically the
But
right
we
is
not,
just
yeah, because
not aligned with
you
your
see all
views
the
at
BS.
all.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not like I'm diehard and I'm just rolling with them regardless. Like, if you say the right thing, you do the right thing, you pique my interest. But you'll have a large portion of people who would vote Democrat who will just sit out if that candidate doesn't interest them. That's what happened with Hillary Clinton. A large portion of people, including
Yeah.
myself, do not feel like Hillary Clinton was the person that was actually supposed to be chosen. The
No.
swell was for Bernie Sanders. Everybody was
Hmm.
on Bernie Sanders' side. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, everybody's going for Bernie. How is she still the one who won all of a sudden? It felt it felt weird to me. It felt like it was manipulated. And you had a
Yeah.
large portion of people who were leaning Democrat, especially for Bernie Sanders. But once Hillary Clinton got it, a lot of people just jumped off the ship like, nah.
Hmm.
And that hurt her. Whereas
Yep.
Republicans, they were like, oh, most of them Republicans, they didn't like Trump.
Hmm.
But when he was the one who was, that's why you say Republicans and then you say MAGA. MAGA is the diehard Trump supporters. But then you have Republicans who just support the party.
And then
But
you
the
have
same
Christians.
people, yeah, you have that too. And then you
So
have,
you have
yes, you
those
have people who
die-hard Christians who are just
know
no
the
on
principle.
abortion,
Yep.
same-sex marriage, any of those things. And if you are a Republican, your stance is always no to abortions,
Right.
no to same-sex marriage or same-sex anything. And those two things will get a large part of the Christian population to vote for you.
And to add that on, Democrats did not do themselves any favors by, and I think I heard somebody say this too, which I 100% agree with. Democrats made a bad move in hitching such a large part of their agenda for such a small population of people. And what I mean by that is all of these transgender rights, when you're talking about less than 1% of the population and you're trying to push a massive agenda based off of a very small population of people, that turned a lot of people off, because even Republicans and Democrats, a lot of them like, Yeah, I don't feel that children should have the right to change their gender.
Yeah, no.
Like some of that stuff they was doing and saying, they was going too far with, and a lot of it, like, you know, and now I don't even know you, but somehow magically I got to know that you go by them or they, or otherwise I'm getting canceled because I didn't address you properly right off. Like some of this, it was getting pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, there was, that's the thing that with America, and with America, all the movements and all these like big elections, is that it always seems to be a overcorrection. Like trans people should have rights. If you want to be trans, you want to change your gender, you want to do all that, you have the right to do that.
Right.
Not on my dime. On your dime,
True.
You will pay for your elective surgery. Cool. Children.
The children don't get full rights that adults get. So why would we give them those type of choices?
Children don't get them kind of rights. In no other way does a child get to make any kind of decision like that as it pertains to themselves. We're not going to start now.
A child can't even go to the mall and say, I want to get my ear pierced. Like, you gotta, I need the parent to sign off on you getting your ears pierced before that. But now you're gonna allow them to choose what, if they want to keep their member. Like,
exactly. And so it was an overcorrection. And I say this all the time on Freethinkers, because most people who are supporting trans rights a lot of times won't recognize that some of these things are too far. So the kids changing their sex or doing it, whatever, not notifying the parents of things. If anything else happened in school, they wanted to change their pronouns or some sort of change to their name, I believe that the school has to notify the parents. It had gotten to the point where the schools weren't notifying the parents. I don't know if they were saying that the kids were allowed to get sex changes, but I think they were saying more so about them changing their pronouns and how they identify, and they didn't have to consult with the parents or something like that was going on. But obviously, like the sex change thing, they wouldn't have been able to do because that's just not realistic. But that was part of it. And again, you know, us using our tax dollars to pay for elective surgery. People weren't being realistic when it came to other people's views on what they were doing. They were acting like other people were just so insane for taking the opposing side of it. And the opposing side doesn't always mean
a lot of people into compliance.
Right. And taking the opposing side doesn't always mean somebody's homophobic or whatever the case may be. That's not it. But it's like really, 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 you know, think about some of these things. Now, again, it gets a little tricky because then you have like, I don't know, there are situations where once you start hormones, right, you have to be on hormones for life. That's it. It's a thing that it doesn't end. I don't know how expensive hormones are. And then so I don't know, like when it comes to if you're transgender and you're in jail, if you get off hormones, how does that affect your health? Like those kind of things, those are issues where I'm like, okay, we can work with this. This makes sense. Like if this is affecting a person's health and they need these hormones, they should be able to get them, you know, because you don't want to completely stop something and then it just revert. Like, I don't know how that works, right? Then there's questions about like, should they be in general population? You know, especially if you're a trans woman and you're going to a jail, like it's not going to be safe for you. Like these are things that we can talk about. That I would be like, yeah, we need to protect the trans people in these situations. Trans people in sports. If you've ever played sports,
I was totally opposed.
You know,
I was totally opposed to that. Like,
I'm completely opposed to that. Completely opposed to it. Because
that
if
was
you
part
play
of the
sports, you know that.
It's like for people, even like myself, who wanted to be an ally, if you're gonna make me sign off on all of these check boxes, then now I'm gonna have to back up. Because in general,
Yeah.
I feel like trans people should have the same rights as everybody else and have equal opportunities, and they should not
Right.
be allowed to be assaulted or condemned or demeaned or all this other stuff. Like, yo, no, you do need to make sure that these are God's children and they need to be protected just like everybody else. But then, and that's one of the things I say, I am always a strong proponent of equal rights. But when you push it too far and it goes into special rights, then I might have some pushback there.
Right. And so what I do want to point out though is I feel like this happens with every movement. There will be people who will be full
That is
steam
true.
ahead and they want things that are fair. They won't want
Mm-hmm.
all this extra. And then other people start coming in being louder than the people who want something that's equal and fair. And then the opposing side latches on to that and then completely dismisses the things that the people wanted that was fair. And that disrupts the entire movement because then it becomes about these little small nuanced things that
And it
ain't
goes both
realistic.
ways too. And that's
Yeah.
why you have people on the left, anybody who's a Republican or Trump supporter, then they automatically labeled as a racist. And I'm like, that's not true. They may
That's
have
not true, but you can't say that.
the things
You
that
can't
they
say that because
focus
you'll be
on. Right. And they're like, oh, see, you racist. I'm like, because you're focused on certain things that Trump does or certain things that the Republican Party does, which I do too. But I'm smart enough and I'm enough of a free thinker to know that the things that are of highest priority to me, other people have different sets of priorities. A business owner will have a different priority. They're like, I'm tired of all of my money going out on taxes and I want some relief on taxes. And some people are like, yeah, I don't want my children to have to use these pronouns that they're not used to. And I'm not, and some people might just be like, yo, I don't agree with abortion. That don't make them racist because they side with that party. Now, I'm not siding with that party just because of those things, because I have a different priority list.
Right.
But if you try to take your priority list and attach it to every person that you see, yeah, because yes, Black Lives Matter, equality, all of that, that's high on my list. Very high on my list. But if I take my list and attach it to everybody else, then I'm going to assume everybody else is racist because they don't look at what I look at as the same priority. That's a narrow-minded way of thinking.
Right. I agree. Q, can you change the pros and cons to confidence to hot topic?
You just now, how come you ain't tell me this a long time?
Literally in this last bit when you were talking, I was like, oh gosh, I gotta change that. I didn't notice it until just now. Yeah, so that's been very interesting to me, seeing how this plays out. But again,
to go full circle though, the whole
Jasmine Crockett thing,
they just don't like her because that's such a weak argument to me.
It's weak.
And not just with her, with anytime somebody just pulls a race card or a gender card out of it. Do you know people lose a lot? White people suffer a lot. I'm just saying, a lot of people lose, a lot of people suffer failure, a lot of people go through trial and error before they succeed. Every time a person loses it ain't, you can't cry racism or genderism every time it is. Every job that I lost, it wasn't because I was Black.
Oh my God. Can we get into that at some point? Can we get into that? I mean,
it's just a cheap. It's cheap to go
low-hanging fruit.
that route immediately every time.
Right. I think there's something to learn from this. I think there's something to learn from the Kamala thing, something to learn from the Hillary thing. It's important. Primaries are way more important than we think. They're way more important than we've been told to think it is. Right. Knowing when people vote, like when you're starting your campaign, like all that stuff, it is so important to let people know, hey, next year, because she goes viral a lot.
Right.
I would be taking those viral moments. Hey, y'all, just so you know, I need y'all to go ahead and register to vote because primaries are coming, and I don't know because I don't follow her, so she may have been doing this. But she goes viral a lot. But that should also let you know going viral ain't getting the job done, y'all. It's like we have
Right.
to, if we want to support these people, which I'm not like, I don't know enough about her. Every time I see something, it just seems like extra. So I don't,
So that's
I,
okay. Well, let me say this too, though. And that's one of those things. People kept going probably for the last 6 to 12 months. People was going at Stephen A. Smith on a lot of stuff that he was saying, and they were like, "Oh, all he do is dog black people, and he dog black," and they went at him hard because of some stuff that he was saying about Jasmine Crockett. And see, all he does, he just coon for the white man all the time, and every time it's a black woman, then he always got something to say about him. And Stephen A, I look, when we get done with it, I will send you the clip. He was like, "I'm not trashing her. I'm saying," and this is what he said before she even ran. He was like, "You keep going at Trump all the time. You keep going at Trump, and you keep going at Trump." But he was like, when it's time for you to move up, which you have the swell, you have the groundswell to do, you get into popularity, but what does that look like in your base if all you're doing going after Trump? Like it's more productive for you to talk about what you're going to do, number one, in your area, and then also going after Trump doesn't speak to the issues of Texans. And it's like, how is that going to play out for you? Because, and then that's one of the things he said. He's like, because when it comes to this primary, you're not running against Trump. You running against this person. And then when a Republican person, you're going to be running against Cornyn or I forgot what the other senator, you going against them. So yeah, it's popular that you talking about Trump all the time, but you better have a better agenda when it comes to getting in a Senate seat. And that's what he was saying. And everybody, "Oh, you always hating on black women." Like, okay.
that's the thing about Stephen A. If you are a Stephen A fan, which a lot of people, he's polarizing. So a lot of people are either a fan or they're not. If you know enough about Stephen A, you know that Stephen A is the type of person who provides correction because he wants to see growth. This is how he is with athletes,
That is true.
males, whatever, it doesn't matter. And in fact, I've heard him kind of discuss it in a way of like, if I say something to you with my voice and I get you on the right path and I correct you and I do it in the way where I'm not doing it to tear you down, you're better off with me doing it than you letting somebody else get a hold of it first and they run with it.
Right.
So it's almost like, let me say this to you. Let me get you aligned, not be tearing you down while I'm doing it, but just providing some correction for you and sending you on your way as opposed to letting the wolves get you and tear you apart. And
this is the other thing though. When anybody who does, and I ain't even talking about the sports side of it, he does political commentary now too. Anybody who does political commentary has strong opinions. And just because you are black does not mean you are disqualified for having strong opinions about other black people.
Right. Can we talk about that, Q?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Hey, we ain't getting to a whole lot of
we're not. There's so much that this
all right.
There's so much with this. There is there's something going on when it comes to speaking about anything a black woman does, and it's not, "Oh yes, queen, you're doing so great." If a black woman gets any kind of critique, people are, whoever is critiquing her, they're attacked. And it's like, we ain't going to get nowhere as a people if we cannot provide critique to each other. Every critique is not somebody trying to stand up and coon. It's tiring. A person should be able to critique what a black person is doing without being called a coon. Like, you do realize what a coon is. It ain't that. So it's like, because of that, see, if Black women were actually, if we want equality, right, that means we have to allow ourselves to be critiqued. And if we really allowed for that critique and listened to it, right, and then acted on it and made changes instead of it being like, oh, F Stephen A, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But maybe she took that and was like, and then made the adjustments instead of living in the echo chamber that is, you can do no wrong, yes, queen. This might be different. This might be different.
When you are Black, people expect you to champion the Democratic side.
Right.
And if you say anything that's not, like, every person who's ever been a Black Republican has always been called a coon. Every single last one. It ain't one.
To be fair, the front-facing Republicans that were Black that we have seen,
but they all
I can think of, have been alternative Black, if you know what I'm saying. Because there's a difference between saying I'm voting Republicans for X, Y, and Z, and then the people who just that Black, that it's like they be out of touch with Blackness altogether.
Not the reason. So okay, Colin Powell, he was a coon. Condoleezza Rice, she was a coon. Steele, I think it was Richard Steele or whatever. He was a House.
See, I don't know enough about Condoleezza or
Colin she was a Secretary of State. Colin Powell was a general. They were Republicans and they were Black and they were all called coons. Herman Cain, he was a coon. Every single last Black person who ever walked on the red side has always been called coons, and it's cheap. It's cheap and it's dismissive. Like, if you can't tell me why a person, now I could tell you why a person is a coon. Now, and the easiest way to say why, if you can only speak bad on one side, but you lack objectivity,
right?
Then you is coon. You cooning, or the equivalent of. And so okay, that's why I still don't mess with even when she make points. I don't mess with Candace. She be cooning. Candace Owens, she be cooning. So
I don't think she be cooning. You know what I think she does? I think that she's a contrarian. I don't think she be cooning because she done called out some stuff that people will not call out. That is definitely don't fall underneath the category of cooning at all.
But if you don't call it out on the other side, and the only thing that's new for her now is because she did start calling out Trump on some BS. She started calling out Trump, and then that really kind of alienated her from her own base when she started calling out some of that stuff. But prior to that, if you can't ever give credit where credit, so look, this is one thing that I do, and this ain't even just about politics. This is about anything: religion, politics, gender wars, whatever. I ask a person, and this is something that I start doing. I'm doing it even more now. Before we have a conversation, if we know we're about to get into a debate about I'm on one side, you on another, tell me 2 to 3 things that you disagree with about your own side. If you can't tell me 2 or 3 things that you have odd or you disagree with about the own side that you represent, you're not objective, and it's a good chance. And cooning is more of a race thing, but the equivalent of cooning, when you only can point out the bad on one side, but then you act like everything on your side is peaches and roses, and it's not. So that's the first thing. I did this even I talked to friends of mine, and even in relation issues, and they we'll have conversations. Well, she don't do this, she don't do this. Hey, tell me 2 or 3 things that she does right that you do appreciate. Well, man, right now I can't even think. I don't even know. I said, well, then you're not even in position to say anything right now. If you can't tell me 2 or 3 things that she do right, then I'm pretty certain that you're not being objective right now.
Right.
So that's the first. So you remember? I don't even know if you remember. I think once we had that big conversation about the whole religious thing or whatever like that. And I remember maybe it was a month or two or something like that afterwards, and we did a whole conversation about what's wrong with the church.
Oh,
And I had a whole
hypocrites.
me being a part of the church.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
We were
had
talking
a
about
whole list of things.
Mm-hmm.
And then even to the point I'm like, somebody smack or somebody start cutting me. I'm like, hold on. You want me to get this out? I said, I got a whole list of things that I don't like about the church. Now, do you just want to argue with me, or do you actually want to hear it? Because I'm like, I'm mature enough to tell you, yeah, I'm a part of this. And because I'm a part of this, these are things I clearly see that I don't like about it. If you can't do that, then I don't even feel like you qualify to have those conversations.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, have you watched any of her stuff in full? Not like clips from things, but like just like a full podcast of hers?
A lot of it. Not the podcast, not to the pocket, but it was more doing Black Lives Matter and a lot of stuff. She would go out of her way to talk bad about George Floyd, talk bad about any movement going on with that, like. And then
see, I didn't watch her stuff back then, so I don't know. I'm not familiar.
Oh my gosh, she was cooning so hard.
I'm not familiar.
George Floyd, and he's not a hero. I'm like, ain't nobody call him no hero. You just don't need to get dragged down in the street if you're a regular civilian. You ain't got to be a hero.
Right, it's very simple. You don't need to be a hero. Like
his old track record and his criminal background and all stuff. I'm like that. And see now, but with all that being said, this is how I knew she was cooning though. I'm like, oh, you absolutely a coon, because when it came to that and when it came to other people in those same situations, then she always had these excuses about, why this you shouldn't champion this person. And she tried to change the narrative. I'm like, we're not championing nobody. We're saying you should not have this happen to you, regardless if you the president or nobody. It shouldn't happen to you.
Right. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. You shouldn't have to have, yeah.
Let me tell you why she's cooning though. Because when the stuff happened with Breonna Taylor, she wouldn't even touch that or say nothing about it.
Oh, because you can't.
Because it ain't nothing to say. Ain't no track record. Ain't no criminal background. It was you dead wrong. Ain't no way around it. They was dead wrong. So why would you take that opportunity to be like, oh yeah, no, they were dead wrong. They shouldn't have. So when you can't even speak up in things that's clear and obvious, you only want to point out ways that you can kind of maneuver and show somebody being a bad. You cooning.
Yeah, for sure. That's cooning. That's cooning. That's 1,000% cooning. Yeah. Because you can't be so strong, and it's like if you're gonna. This is my thing. If you're gonna be one way across the board, be that way across the board. But if you ain't,
and you purposefully just
I'll respect it.
That whole conversation, you just duck that, and that's what a lot of them Republicans did too. You see that they wouldn't even talk about Breonna. They couldn't pull up. Oh, like they did with the guy in Dallas when the police officer girl shot him, talking about she thought it was her house and stuff like. And then they tried to pull. Well, he has some marijuana in his house. What the hell? Him having marijuana in his house got to do with her coming in and shooting?
Her, right? Zero.
But they always try to change the narrative. But like even with Breonna Taylor, there was literally no narrative to even twist or maneuver around that. So they just avoided the topic altogether. Like, yeah, y'all cooning, y'all some hoes.
Yeah. I think we did it, Q. What else is on the docket? What has happened in the past month or so since we got into hot topics, since our last hot topic convo? Did we have one this year yet?
Okay. It's a few. All right. Let me see if we can do some quick 5-6 minute ones. Did you how did you feel about the Oscars? I didn't see all of it, but I did see Michael B. Jordan one.
So I have to put on my tinfoil hat. But I when I tell you, I was like, I need Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan to win. This is what I need for my soul. Like okay. I need this for my heart and soul, because for one, I am a fan of their collaborations, period. Okay. Always have been since Fruitvale Station. That and Best Man Holiday had me weeping in the theater.
Oh, he did Best Man Holiday?
No, it's just the fact that like those are two movies that I remember like being stuck in my seat, like
Yeah,
not
Fruitvale.
comparing Best Man Holiday to Fruitvale Station in any way, but I'm just saying I remember like being stuck. Like after Fruitvale Station, I couldn't get up. I just was like I had to compose myself because they did such a great job making you feel like that was your homeboy.
Right.
Like it felt like that was your cousin, that was your friend. And they did such a beautiful job just humanizing the small little things that he would do, just like as a kind human being, who's just kind.
Right.
Um, and I feel like they were fair with the storytelling as well, like just overall. But it was a beautiful film. I never heard of Ryan Coogler before then, but just all the work that I see with them, like Black Panther,
Right.
um, you know, that was the first time I feel like I saw the African American story told in a
Mm.
way of like, we're upset, we're angry, we ain't taking it. Oh, let me call you out too. Like it was the first time that African Americans addressed Africans and were
You
like,
yeah,
we
and that's a dynamic, yeah.
yeah, we need to talk about this.
Right.
See, y'all be no. We need to talk about this. And that
That's
was
one
the
of those hidden
first
tensions that
movie.
never really got the shine on it. And it's always been an underlying tension or
Always.
miscommunication between African Americans and Africans. Even
Yes.
how in certain ways both sides think that they're better than the other. It's weird.
Yeah. No. Um
Think about it. Think
but
about it. Think about it. Yeah.
but yeah, but and so but that was the first time the conversation was had on that level.
Right.
And
Uh-huh.
so and I will say that I feel like just addressing it like broke down barriers within the diaspora. And then you start to
Right.
see like then through the soundtrack, you got the African artists and people
Yeah.
collect the African sounds and like then Beyonce does the Lion King and she's collaborating with the African artists and
Mhm.
American art and you start to see like oh like let's bring this together and then Afrobeat starts to take off all this stuff because we were like oh wait
Ooh.
we just need to have this
Okay, but
conversation.
forget about the Black Panther though. But the clever part about the the storyline of Black Panther is the commonality has so much overlap in it to where even and white
Yeah.
people probably didn't even feel this, but there was a large portion of people who's like, yeah, I'm right with Killmonger on this. I see what he's saying.
Mhm.
And there was a large portion of people who understood, like, like, okay, and one of the crazy things, like even black people may not even understand the mindset or the importance. But even when T'Challa was like, why didn't you not go back for the boy? Like, because when he left, when they killed
Oh.
the father and they left Killmonger there, he was like, why ain't you go back for the boy? Because like in our community, then it's like, is that necessary? But in Africa, that's everything. And I've heard, Africans, like one of the things like, if an African get a woman pregnant, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe you did this. And then it was one guy, it was funny. He played, this was an old, this African, he was American, but he had an African father. So he was like first generation American. He had an African father. I had to find it, but he played a joke on his dad talking about he got this girl pregnant. And the father was flipping out. Oh my God, how could you do that? Oh my goodness. But his first thing was, okay, you're going to go get your education. We're going to take care of the child. Like his first thing is, don't worry about the child. We're going to take care of the child. We're going to make sure the child is good. I need you to finish getting your education so that you could be a man, take care of this woman and this child, and then you can move on from there. But you need to get your education first. But it was crazy. As mad as he was, that was his first thought. All right, now we got a woman to take care of, and we got a child to take care of. And it's like crazy, like, dang, that would not have been a conversation in a lot of American talks. They'd be like, all right, well, what you gonna do? But the parents are like, no, we gotta continue this.
But also we have unhealed trauma from the
Right.
separation and slavery. There's it was so common I say this all the time.
Mhm.
It's so common to take the male slave and use him, make him the buck, and he's having sex with all the women, and you just take because you're trying to literally breed the
Right.
strongest human being you can breed for, whatever it is that you need on your plantation. And so
Correct.
you take that, I forgot what they call it, but there's something where they talk about how your DNA holds memory and things like that.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
even down to, I'll say this, it's not just with trauma. I remember Ryan Coogler, he's very good about capturing culture in its authenticity.
Mm.
So him and what's his name? The composer that works with him,
Uh,
Ludwig
uh-huh.
Gorson, they went to Africa. And a lot of the sounds that you hear on the soundtrack are
I did. I
sounds
watched
that
that.
they
Yeah.
got there. And he was also saying, like, he was there and he went in these neighborhoods, and there was so much familiarity of like being at like a black barbecue in America, and like this
Right.
dance that they did that was kind of like the electric slide and like all
Right.
these things. And so I'm saying all that to say there are things that are internalized in our DNA, even from Africa, that
Yeah.
we kept within ourselves, where you just start to see us redo these dances and stuff that look like very much like the dances and the way they move in Africa,
Mhm.
etc. I'm saying all that to say this: the
Which is
same
how they
goes for
did
the
Sinners in their
trauma.
montage of dancing too, which was genius.
Genius. And so
Yeah.
we hold this trauma. We have to identify it, and then we have to work through it, because we have
Right.
to get the black family back on one accord. All that to say, the Oscars.
Okay, hold on. Right before you go there, because you sparked some just on a slight, because this is a little bit off topic, but you did remind me of something even when you were talking about slavery. And this is a part that goes dear to me, and that's why I'm kind of to the point where I'm getting a short fuse with the way people treat the church. Um, Back then, even when you what you were talking about, how men and women, they were just property. So it actually wasn't even legal for them to marry. They
Yep,
would
jump
do
in the
their
broom.
own forms or ceremonies of marriage and what they would call someone their wife, even though it wasn't legally recognized. But even in the same aspect, at any point in time, your wife, your husband, your children could be sold off to somewhere else. So there was no guarantee that this family unit was going to be able to stay together, because they can up and just decide, no, you stay here, they go, or you go, they stay here, all of that. So when a person either had to leave or came to a plantation, that church was a form of family or a family unit that they had to depend on, when many of them came from broken families, or they may have been split from
Ooh.
their spouse or their children. So when people this is the part that pissed me off, because people only look at the church in one type of way. If you try to take away the historical significance of the church, then you are shitting on my history and my culture and a lot of things that it was so essential for our survival. And when you take out those parts and all you do is just point at the things that you don't like, then it's like, why don't you shut up? Because you don't know what you're talking about.
I think the problem is, and I posted a video about this recently. I watched the Native Land podcast, has Angela Rye. Forgot the gentleman's name that's on there. His name's Andrew something, and two other people. I think it's Andrew Gilliam or something like that. But
Hmm.
he mentioned like having to acknowledge those things, the wrongs, so we can move past them. And I think the problem a lot of times with the Black church and with the Black community is we do not want to talk about those things, because you want to keep it hush hush, because we don't want to get anybody in trouble. Because even that goes back to slavery, of like, we don't want nobody to get in trouble. Like
Right.
you having to um protect each other's sins, in a sense, to stop, I guess, the whole from being punished, because that's kind of
Right.
how it would work. And so, which goes back to the conversation we had earlier about how apparently you're not allowed to say anything wrong about Black women, or you're not allowed to give Black women a critique. It
Right.
all goes back to that mindset. There's so many things from slavery, but because one, how they teach slavery doesn't allow for the actual like unpacking of what it has done to the people who were enslaved psychologically. There
Right.
has never, and then when you, I think the point of reparations are less about the economics. That's a big part of it, don't get me wrong, but it's also about the acknowledgement of wrong. And that
Mm-hmm.
has never happened. It has never happened. The real acknowledgement of what was
Of
done
wrong
to
by
us,
whom or by what?
the wrong, us being enslaved, us being
Mm-hmm.
stolen, us being brought
Oh
to this
yeah.
country, us being enslaved, us being murdered, us being raped, us
Ooh
being
wee.
separated from our families, us being, like just the complete like just demolition of the Black family that we then had. Like there's so much, like when you talk about genocide and all these things, but you don't even get into the psychology of the person and the people that this has been done to. It's never properly examined nor apologized for. And so when you
That's what.
do that, go ahead, Q.
No. You go ahead. You go ahead. My
Yeah,
mind going so many different places, but you fine. Go
remember it,
ahead. You
please.
fine.
But when you do
Mhm.
that and you never apologize, and we never had that conversation. And
That's
that's
all I
why
was
that
gonna
movie
say.
is so important, because we needed to talk about this. We can't get past it. We can't get past it
You
because
were
we
saying
got to
exactly
talk
what I was
about it.
about to say. One of the biggest things why, and it's so disrespectful and dismissive when people just tell you get over it. Um, and you know what the truth is? Going back to what you say, you know, in general, and this goes for slavery, but this goes for just about anything. People actually do get over things faster when you will freaking acknowledge it. It's one of those things like just get over, no, I'm going to stay right here because you're not hearing what I'm saying. If you don't acknowledge what I'm saying, then no, I'm not going to get over it, because this is not about me getting over it. We have to acknowledge it to grow and heal from it and then move past it. But all of this, we as a society ain't growing and healing and moving past nothing if it ain't no acknowledgement there. And that's what happens in slavery with today. Well, I didn't enslave you, and my people didn't. Well, you still need to acknowledge it was fucked up.
And you
That's what
reap the
happens in
benefits from it.
relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Relationships are, well, why don't you just move past it? No, you need to acknowledge what you actually did. I'm not moving past this until there's some acknowledgement. Because if you don't acknowledge it, then you're also opening the door for a pattern of repeated behavior. You probably gonna, if you don't acknowledge what you did or acknowledge that things happen, then that's how stuff keep happening over and over and over.
Yep. And we can't move past it, and we're not going to move past it, because it's almost like being gaslit. It's like America has gaslit African Americans, because it's like not really. Oh, that it didn't happen. It wasn't that bad, or it didn't happen later. Like, no, what? Huh?
Okay.
What?
Yeah, exactly. So now
But
let me
you're
tell you
going to
this.
tell me when it comes to like people get all up in arms, and shout out to my Jewish brothers and sisters, because the Holocaust
They ain't
was
gonna let
very
you forget.
wrong.
They will not let you forget either. And they
But
shouldn't, in all honesty.
they should not. My Jewish
Right.
brothers and sisters, don't let y'all play with them. And they got their
Because
reparations.
Right.
And that was an
Because if
acknowledgement
you
of
allow people to
wrong.
forget, then you'll end up being in our positions a lot of time.
Exactly. So then we got to constantly be fighting just to remember when we don't want to spend all our time remembering. We want to move forward.
And literally right now they trying to take our history out the books.
And to tell new stories about it. Oh, wasn't this? It wasn't that. Oh, really now? Then tell me what it was. How did we get here?
And that's crazy
Oh,
because
unless we
they've been
been
lying for the
here.
most part. Like most of my growing up through school, them history books was lying half the. If you even look at them old encyclopedias from the 60s and 70s, you know how much they was lying up in there and retwisting the truth.
Okay.
It really wasn't until until social media, not social media, but the internet came to where information is just much more freely available, to where we had to go back and unlearn a lot of the stuff that was taught to us. Like, nope, that wasn't right. That wasn't right. We over here thinking, the majority of my life, I thought Christopher Columbus was a good guy. Like some of this, and you know what's even crazy? Even with all this crazy stuff that our current president is doing. I was just thinking about this the other day. He's really not doing much more different than what our founding presidents were doing. Our first 8-10 presidents, what was they doing? Stealing stuff, taking people land, taking people property, making big using little them. Like he's a throwback president of the early 1700s. He doing the same
I'm
stuff
gonna
they
just
was doing.
say I don't know how throwback he actually is. He is just
If you just
more
up and decide,
so.
you know what, we're gonna take Venezuela. He tried to make Wikipedia label him as the president of Venezuela. Like literally. No, the Wikipedia, y'all need to change it. I need to be labeled the president of Venezuela. He just up and decides, you know what, I think we want Greenland.
The difference I think between him and the others, more recent others, is that he's just flat out like, hey, listen, we're going in here, we're taking this. But the others have done it. They just say, we gotta go over there because we heard that they had weapons of mass destruction, so we gotta go take it. But it was just about oil. It was about whatever it is what was going on with your daddy. But so that's what I'm saying. It's no real difference beyond.
Go look up James
They dress
Monroe,
it up.
look up Andrew Jackson, all of them.
They
weren't dressing nothing up either. It was like this is what look up the definition of manifest destiny. They're like, yeah, this is ours. We have the right to take and conquer anything from this place, and we're gonna move westward expansion, and it's our right to do it. Why? It just is.
But I mean, when you build your nation on, what's the word I'm looking for? On colonization, your whole nation is built on colonization. I personally, I was talking to my roommate about this earlier. He's talking about finding some, like the documents from the boats and the people that were brought over, and it was only X amount of people and yada, yada, yada. I'm like, yeah. So then that means some of the stuff that we see in some of these other documentations supports the theory that a lot of Black people were here.
Mm-hmm.
That's a conversation nobody wants to have, because even if you don't want to give us those reparations for being enslaved, they don't want to give us those Native American reparations that we deserve as well, because that's a whole nother beast for a whole nother day. And that would distribute the wealth in a whole different way, which I'm surprised nobody wants to talk about that like that. It's so interesting to me that nobody gets into that. You're acting like Native Americans were not enslaved with the Black people. Come on. Q, you look like you got some Native American to me, and I'm pretty sure you do. Wait, you're breaking up, Q. It might just be on my end. I don't know if y'all can hear Q or hear me. I might have to hop off and hop back on.
Oh no, you shouldn't have hopped off. That was I think that was
Oh,
me.
with you?
I think that was
Okay.
me.
But yeah,
Probably.
I
Yeah.
had just mentioned about us, like, see, we supposed to be talking about Michael B and them.
Oh, okay. So I was saying, okay, so we probably gonna have to do a part 2 of this because we ain't really get down to none of that. One of the things that I was hearing about, even with the natives, was they tried to enslave them, but number one, they were not just a free people, but this was it's different when you take somebody off of their land and bring them to a foreign place.
Mm-hmm.
Like the natives, they knew this land. They knew this land better than the white people did. You can't enslave me. I know all of the routes. I know where the rivers go to. I know what tribes are in what area. Like it was just next to impossible to enslave a lot of them because they knew the land better than the white people themselves. Versus us, you pull us away from our family, our history, our culture, and our land that we're just not familiar with, and you feel like you're a prisoner, even you're a prisoner even without walls.
Hmm. Oh, wait. Oh my God. Okay. My brain just went and went into a movie idea and just came back to Freethinkers. And then,
Okay,
okay.
movie idea. What you have? What's it? You gonna share? We can make it happen.
No, I'm just thinking about, like, from my understanding, I don't know if I heard this or I just thought about this about braids and like braiding maps into people's hair. Did I hear this or is this what happened back then? I don't
Oh, I didn't hear
know.
about that.
But think about that. Like, and
Ooh.
think about that. Like, and then think about uh how demonized our natural hair is and things like that. And then I'd heard something about putting seeds in your hair and
Feed
seeds, like,
seeds.
yes, putting seeds
Okay.
in your hair, like in your locks and things like. Anyways, and so I think I'd heard some things like this, and I'm just like, how much of our natural state and being is the actual thing that allowed us to survive what slavery was?
Mm-hmm.
How much of it?
A lot.
Um, and so it just makes me think about how much our natural state is under attack because of the ability we were able to survive in that natural state, and something about what our natural state, what kind of powers we get from it, and things like that. I don't know, but I'm just thinking about that. But all that to say, shout out to Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. I am so happy for both of them. They deserve it. I say this all the time. That scene in Sinners, I am under the belief will be studied for years to come. The dancing, singing scene where
Yeah.
you show all the time periods of Black culture. I am really under the belief that this will be studied. That was such a beautifully well done scene. It sticks out in my brain more than any scene I've ever watched in cinema. And I'm a I'm not gonna say a huge Christopher Nolan fan, but like I like science fiction and like things like that. Like, um, but something about what was going on there was crazy. And so I'm so glad that they won. Also the
Oh
cinematographer
man.
won as well. And that's cinematographer is the person who like actually captures the shots. She
Mm-hmm.
won. She's Creole and something else. Um, some
Filipino.
Filipino. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
And
don't even know.
so
She just looked like she.
I think it is. I think it's Creole and Filipino. But yeah, I was insanely happy for them both, and insanely happy for Michael B, especially after that debacle at the BAFTA, which very much felt like some sort of humiliation they were trying to do. And I do not respect it, and I do not respect BAFTA, and I strongly, strongly advise that no more Black people go back to that show until they get right, if ever.
I got to. Oh, okay. So we got 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. Okay. Dang. We just need to do a part 2 because I think I still want to talk about this Target thing too.
Oh yeah, I got to dig deeper in that to see what happened, but I got a lot to say about that man.
We could do a part 2 because I mean it's a whole lot of other things, So dang, all right, but this is still kind of on topic what I was saying. Even because I'm still going back to the slavery part of it. Because I was looking at I was watching a documentary, and people are talking about just, people try to talk about the church as a white man's religion. It was like, no, the white man tried to use Christianity as a form of control. But you got to understand there is a reason why there's such a difference between you going to a Black church and a white church. And even from the times of slavery, Black people or the slaves were only allowed to practice Christianity, but since they weren't allowed to practice their original voodoo and other hoodoo and different types of African religion, they would incorporate that within their services in Christianity. So even what the type of Christianity or the type of church that we would practice was not traditional American Christianity. It was actually incorporated with a lot of African spiritualism. So again, all I'm saying is when you try to discredit this version of a thing, you're also discrediting a lot of our ancestral worship and spiritual practices. Just like, you got to do history. That's all. Like, people just say stuff and if you feel a certain type of way, but people don't do any history to know that this stuff is still connected with us. And even for you to try to dismiss it or do away with it, you are unknowingly disconnecting from certain aspects of your cultural ancestral connection. Just like you said, when they went to Africa, then they seen a lot of the similarities between what we not even seeing that stuff. Like, we hadn't been privy to a lot of it, but still, like you said, that DNA running through us still had us doing a lot of the same things. And we might call it twerking, and then they call it something else. It's still the same thing. We call it this two-step or this dance. It's still the same thing. We call it speaking in tongues. They call it this. It's still the same thing. And it's like, you just because you don't understand it, then you don't discount it and don't disconnect. It's a reason why it got us as far as it's gotten us to. And then one other thing, I just looked at it. It was, I wish I once I find it where I saved it, I pull it up from you. But it was even a short clip talking about how if you assume that Black people, we created our own form of English, and it wasn't just this broken, uneducated English that you thought it was. It was actually for a purpose. It was we had to speak in short sentences, and we couldn't speak and articulate in a way because there's other ears listening to us all the time. So it's different short phrases that we would use that another Black person could understand it without us completely, letting that thought be heard. And it was actually a form of us protecting ourselves against other people who was hearing what we said. So even, know what I'm talking about, a lot of people won't even know what you just said. Do you know what I'm talking about? No, I'm talking about. Like, and we will say, so when you were in a plantation or different things like that, you were speaking these little short phrases, short English. So one slave to the next could understand what was being said without the taskmasters or other people fully understanding it. And all of that was important for survival.
Oof.
Do homework, man. And people won't. People won't. But that's the part that just gets me increasingly frustrated. Is like, we not a dumb people. We not an ignorant people. We never were. We are masters of survival. We're masters of art. We're masters of creativity. We've always been that. Anyway, it's 1:30. What you got any final words? I've been rambling like crazy.
Yeah, I have some final words. Like, listen, no matter what I said today, understand this. I love my people. I love my black women. I love my black men. I love my black non-binary people. I love my black trans people. Um, but everybody should be corrected when need be. And don't let people being corrected, because I saw something too. Don't allow, if you can, not allow yourself and your correction to be used as a means to like allow people to tear people down because you are critiquing or correcting someone. And there's a very fine line with that. But if you do notice that your likeness is being used to tear someone down when that was not the intent, yeah, step up and correct that.
Mm-hmm.
I am so proud of us as a people. Things, if you're, a little younger, you may not be familiar with how things used to be. And it's not to say that there's not more growth that needs to happen. But from whenever I was a child to now, where we are as Black people, we have grown so much. And we have been able to make changes that I didn't, that I just dreamed of and wished, we would be able to do. And the the growth is just beautiful, and our mindsets, and just even us learning more about our culture and becoming richer in our culture and things like that. I just have to, say thank you to all of us for how we've contributed to these changes. Because it wasn't like this when I was a kid. It just wasn't. Um, and lastly, Freethinkers homework. This is the do month. This is the month of doing. Listen, if you have an idea, I don't care how scared you are. I don't care how much you're trying to talk yourself out of it. You got to go do it. You must do it. It's important that you do it. You may be, oh, I'm gonna wait until I got, I got more money, or I'm gonna wait till I have a bigger platform, or I'm gonna wait until, everything's perfect. No, nobody's ever started perfect. You have to do things, and you have to make mistakes, and you have to fail, or in the words of my good uncle Denzel, fall forward in order to learn, to get better. And where you are right now is impactful. So do not wait to impact the world on your perfection to impact the world. I'm gonna leave it at this. I was so scared to go do this audition. I didn't want to do it. Earlier in the week before I spoke to Freethinkers about it, I had talked to myself out of it. And my partner was like, I don't know, it sounds like you're trying to disqualify yourself. And I was like, and let me tell you, got up at like 5 something in the morning to get to this space because I'm not union, which means they don't have to see me. And I was able to do 2 auditions in less than an hour, which is not the regular or the norm. There are people who, if you're non-union, you would be there until the evening and maybe still would not be seen.
Right.
And God worked it out to where I was seen twice. So who knows? Regardless, I did it. I pushed past my fears. It wasn't that serious. And I'm going to keep on doing that. And what I'm telling you is, when you push past your fears, you will see that the thing you were very scared to do wasn't that serious.
That's dope. That's dope. Glad to hear that. That's dope.
Q, any final words?
No, this was a good conversation. I mean, we was going.
We was.
This was a fast 90 minutes. I ain't barely stopped to breathe, but it was good, man. And it's always good to talk to people who I love talking to people who just get my brain sparking. Like it was so many ideas and thoughts coming out of my head while we was having the conversation. I was like, woo, that was good though. No, I enjoyed it. It was awesome.
All right.
That's it.
Till next time, y'all.
You know, we need to do a part 2 next time. I don't know.
We
I'm
do.
gonna
See what else? What other hot topics were missing? Because you know the Venezuela thing. Well, we think we talked about that, but we haven't talked. It was somebody else. Where else did he run up in recently?
I'm gonna send you some because I do got another conversation about this Tennessee House of Representatives. I don't know if you saw that with the Tennessee person and the Oh yeah. It's we got a lot more stuff that we can still talk about.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
Good later.